Hi everyone, this is Miss Orlando coming to you with a PSA on how I plan to close the achievement gap as a future educator. Um, Before I begin, I just wanted to show you some of my notes that I had jotted down about this. I just wrote it in my journal because I thought it would be useful for me to look at later, and this is where I write all of my important information. So, to begin, first step in addressing the achievement gap, and that would be number one, providing high quality educational experiences. Now, this one I thought of as I was reading through the Burris and Wellner journal on closing what is the achievement gap and closing it. It's important that we're providing kids, no matter what their race or socioeconomic status are, with quality education. And by that I mean not watering down the curriculum or giving them things that are just easy so that they get, they're passing their tests on a regular basis, because that's not really what's important at the end of the day. An example of this that I see used in my own placement at Cesar Chavez Elementary School is that they use ELA and math curriculum through Engage New York, which for those of you who are up to date on just current states' achievement levels, New York is like way up here, and then Arizona's like way down here. So it's cool that they're utilizing material that these really highly performing states are using and putting them into our low-income inner-city schools out here. The curriculum is really rigorous. It takes a lot of time for the teachers to go through and sort of accommodate and modify it for our population. We have mostly ELL students in my school. But I really love giving them the opportunity to use this high quality curriculum and giving them the experiences that these kids in other school districts are getting as well. I think that's one way we can bridge this achievement gap. Providing kids with comprehensive testing and to be an advocate. And what I mean by comprehensive testing is they talk a little bit about this on Bright Hub Education. They basically discuss how there are many ways that people can be intelligent, and it's important to assess multiple intelligences with students. They were basically talking about this as far as gifted students go, but I think this is across the board important. They said to use techniques like giving students more open-ended questions, things that they can really showcase their skills trying to get at. But with these open-ended questions, you can see a little bit more of their thought processes and things like that. And be an advocate. If you are a teacher and you're seeing that a lot of these standardized tests they are culturally biased and it's hurting the performance of your own students, you have the ability to speak out and contact your administrators and your local testing sites to see if it's possible that they can redo some questions and make changes for the future, because part of this change has to occur at the standardized testing level, because that is currently how we're assessing students. So it's important that in the future they are receiving things that are not biased towards them and things that they are familiar with. And the third way that I plan to address the achievement gap as an educator would be to familiarize myself with the backgrounds of my various students. They talk about this in the Jordan article, which addresses the role of culture in minority school achievement. School is a lot about complying, both on the teachers and students' part, and with this complying, you see, greater academic success, but sometimes this complying is very difficult for students coming from various cultural backgrounds. The teacher might be coming from one background and the student may be coming from another, and it's kind of hard to find repertoire and things that work for both parties. An example of this personally, I teach an SFA class to fifth graders who are reading at a second grade level currently at Cesar Chavez. One of my students who is on an IEP, she is from a Native American background, and I had a really hard time trying to get her to participate in class initially, because I have a pretty outgoing personality in the classroom, whereas this student in particular was very, very quiet and reserved, and I thought that initially it was because she didn't like me or she was just intimidated by the material. I thought there were maybe a bunch of things going on there that she just wasn't crazy about. But upon getting to know her and upon doing my own sort of research into the Native American cultures, there are many within that umbrella term, I found that Native Americans do tend to be more soft spoken. They don't like to, elicit attention of others, and that's not something I considered because a lot of the other kids in the class are constantly acting out for attention from me and they want that, whereas this student wanted the complete opposite. So now, rather than call on her to try to answer questions whole group, I like to go up to her individually and talk with her one-on-one about her thoughts on the reading and her responses to certain prompting questions that I might give them, and she's much more receptive, and I feel that her participation has like skyrocketed, even though maybe walking into the room and looking at her you still wouldn't think that, but I know that she's participating because I go up and take the initiative to find out for myself. So definitely familiarizing yourself with the backgrounds of students will help them to become more successful, because every student is different. Alright, so those are my three strategies on how I plan on closing the achievement gap as a future educator. I look forward to hearing the strategies of my peers in this class, and hope that mine have maybe opened up some new trains of thought for you as well. Thank you.